So now we're going to run through the same process that we've done in the past where we're replacing one field with another field. So we'll add the field first to the content type, we'll move the data over, and then we'll delete the old field. Now we're editing the tour content type in order to provide references to the guide content type. So let's go ahead and click on Structure in the admin bar. Let's click on Content Types. And then next to Tour, let's go ahead and click on Manage Fields. And we're going to add a new field here. We'll call it Guide, just like we did in the past. And we need a unique name. We've already used Field Guide, so let's go ahead and use Guide Reference. So it's a little clearer that this is a reference field rather than a text field or some other type of field. Under Field Type, let's go ahead and select Node Reference. And then we have a couple of options for our widget. We have Autocomplete Text Field, Select List, and checkboxes. Let's go ahead and use the Select List for now. I'm going to click Save. And again, we have a two-step process for adding our field. This first one is the global settings that can't be changed as soon as we add data to the field. So let's go ahead and select the content types that can be referenced. Of course, we only want the guide. So let's go ahead and check that and click Save Field Settings. And let's go through our options briefly. The label is guide. We don't want to set it to required for now. We'll leave the help text blank. I'm going to scroll down. We can set a default value. We can set some field settings, and the number of values we want to be 1, since there will only be one guide per tour. And we can change the content types that can be referenced. But we'll go ahead and leave it at the value that we set in the previous settings form. Okay, let's go ahead and click Save Settings. Now let's go ahead and go back to our tour nodes or our tour pieces of content and move the data over from our old guide field to our new guide field. I'm going to go ahead and click on Find Content. And again, we're still being filtered by tour content types here. Let's go ahead and click Edit on the first one. And I'm going to scroll down. We see that our guide here is Phil Terry. And I'm going to select as a guide down here, Phil Terry. Okay. Let's go ahead and save. And let's edit the other two pieces of content on Fast Forward. Now you may have noticed that we've repeated these steps several times for several different fields. And there's a few reasons why we're doing it in this video series instead of just skipping over it. One of which is that this is a very realistic process. A lot of times you begin by importing a small set of content, and then as you discover ways to link up pieces to one another, you replace out those pieces of content that you added initially with certain fields with other fields. This will also give you a sense of why you want to work with limited sets of content. Sometimes you might even just want 1 or 2 pieces of content instead of 3. Notice how much time it takes to edit each of these 3 different pieces of content every time we change a field.